we're talking about the capital market. I'm going to be worried if we hear from major investments, particularly foreign, who call in and say, oh, that's a bad idea. Well, as long as these people are coming to say that you have given us opportunity to bring more money into your country, then I would say, look, let's leave sentiments out of this. When we are talking about matrimonial issues, it's better not to talk about it in the market. Let's come into the capital market. Yes, exactly. Let's come into the capital market and discuss it with those people who are the stakeholders. When the season of Olympics, one of the indices that they use in Olympics, 100 meters, is the men's 100 meters world record. And when they brought in the female one, nobody complained. They will set a standard for an athlete who wants to compete in the women's 100 meters to beat the timing. And all of a sudden, we realized that the Paralympics, and there were records to beat. So as the person who wanted to play in that race, you will learn to do as that person who broke the record did to beat that record and become significant. Nobody said that the introduction of this Paralympics record into the market is to make sure that everybody is crippled. Why? Why? Let me tell you something that is happening. The market we're about to wish away with all this negativity about something that is actually professional has $1.3 trillion. Even those who are countries who colonize us, they're already tapping into that market. America is. For example, you mentioned Dow Jones, as a player in the American market, has in the American market over 7 Islamic indices. That is the over 7.
Very quickly, let me ask you, do they call it Sharia?
Exactly, that's what I was going to that point.
Yes.
All over the world, except Nigeria, they call their things. I just mentioned to you one just now, the latest one in the global market, the S&P OIC, ComSec 50 Sharia Index. That is the only name these people know by it. And the investors speak in the capital market. It is a market of those who are going to provide funds for our industries, for our companies, and for the people in the stock market to earn a good pay.
That's what it means. How is this going to affect the capital market?
No, that's a very good one. The current administrator of the Nigerian Stock Exchange, they're actually looking for a lot of product to bring to market so that we can expand the amount of investable outlay that we can have on the market. That's why you see that not too far ago, they launched an ETF, exchange traded fund, backed by gold, the gold ETF. So this one, what they expect it to generate to be is to become like a product where you can invest. Instead of investors trying to say, I want to invest in the 15th product that is inside that index, they're going to invest in the index itself. The index become a product. So instead of worrying yourself and say, which one should I pick out of the 15, or should I pick each of the 15, you just buy the index. You are paying just transaction fee on one transaction rather than on 15 different transactions. This is what I'm explaining.
Slow down. Okay. So you buy the index.
Yes, let me. Index become a product. It can be a product. For example, now in US now people invest in Nasdaq, people invest in
Dow Jones,
yes. Mm-hmm. People invest in Shanghai FTSE. Index. They invest in FTSE, exactly FTSE 100. They invest in S&P. So it become a product. Now, in investment management, there's some manager we call passive manager. The passive managers mean that people that they don't want to bother themselves to be thinking and say which will perform. They call it overperform or underperform the market. Which one will be better or not? But let me say, okay, let me just invest in all of them. If one goes up, this one goes down. At the end of the day, it balances up. It's reducing transaction cost because instead of buying 15 different products, you are buying only one product.
Okay, hold that thought. Mr. Gbaje?
Yes, ma'am.
If I buy the index,
yes, what does it mean?
What does it mean? And how do I receive my dividends?
Good. Let's unveil that index and see the kind of things that are inside. Because when you say Sharia, it looks like it will be mosques and all that. What we have in there will include Cadbury, Danksem, NACO, and companies that are not in the, those stocks we spoke about, the Sharia people, Sharia-involved people will not invest in.
7-Up.
So an investor comes and they are already calling. They will need to invest what they will call a mirror fund. That is a fund, that is, I have money to invest in the capital market. Go to this Islamic index. See the portion of Dangote Cement that is in it, buy it for me. Go into it, see the portion of Cadbury that is in it, buy it for me. Go into it, see the NACO that is in it, buy it for me. And because he has seen the history of this Islamic index, and by the way, in the last, since 2009 up to 9, that index has done over 35%. Can you imagine what that means to an investor? I would not have lost 50%. You will now say, do it exactly like that product. So we have the mirror funds using that index as something. Then what he mentioned now, the ETF, exchange traded funds, are already being developed to trail this Islamic index, such and so that people are able to reduce transactional costs by just buying that particular component of the stock market. I must also let you know that currently we have ethical funds, which includes the Lotus Halal fund, which he mentioned. To date, those funds have been benchmarking against the all-share index, which is not exactly their own. It's like comparing apples and oranges. They don't have any guide to say that, oh, this is we can see how we correlate with this, because really you decided to remove certain shares from the all-share index. So all-share index isn't the actual benchmark that you're going to be running with. So to that extent, the market already needs it. Talk less of the added advantages that
if we just add to that. I mean, what I was trying to say again, I'm saying that, like you said, funds are products on a different board game. We have different funds, like you said. It's named anyhow. I work with BGL. I'm the head of Sharia Intelligence. We have our product, we have funds, we have indexes. Now, in the fund, what you are doing when you are buying a mutual fund is that you are investing in every stock inside that fund, which are necessarily buying each of those stocks. Now, this fund has done that for you. That is what index will do at the end of the day if you decide to be buying the index as well. Because the fund that you created doesn't necessarily have to be exactly like the index. It doesn't necessarily have to be told. For example, now I can create a fund that have some stocks that I like in the market. And again, you can move out of that stock based on it. But the thing that you look at is that which index, which benchmark gets very close to it that can be like a standard benchmark for me tomorrow. In BGL, I have a BGL, it's now called This Day BGL 50 Index, which we write report on every day inside This Day, and a very equity and economic report on Sundays in the paper. What we are trying to do is just that we have 50 stocks that have criteria of selection based on market cap, liquidity, float, and for financial performance. Every quarter, we move in and out of the place to make sure that we have that 50, that's what we want. Now, you can create a fund around that 50. You can create a fund around the top 10 of that 50. You can create a fund. But now, for an investor, to not go and say, I want to buy the 50 stock, each of them. Yes, you can do it, but it could be quite expensive because of the transaction cost of each of them. Now, rather than buy those 50 stocks, you buy just
buy the index.
Okay, let me put a double-edged question very quickly because we'll have to wrap up now. Let me ask Mr. Gbaje.
Yes.
In the first instance, the index, the companies that are listed in that index, it does not necessarily mean that they're owned by Muslims.
Exactly.
And then the second question is one that is being asked by Lekon Ibunjabi on Twitter. He said, Sharia-compliance index, good but in bad environment. Nigeria is a sensitive country. What will be your response to both?
I have watched this sensitivity and I've listened carefully. Many of the forums I have attended. And in fact, the last time I was in channels, it was because of the issues. If you were to take an objective view about what the people were really talking about, you will say it is sentiments. It is sentiments. Why do I say sentiments? The issue against it is you want to Islamize. And safe that you asked the question. I do not wish to be dragged into that portion of discussion of whether you're a Muslim or a Christian or anything. But I answer it like this. If you want the capital market in Nigeria to develop, I see no reason why somebody cannot go out there and pick a stock pick and call it a Christian index. There's no, if the Buddhists can go there and bring, as long as that index is going to be useful for people to come and bring money into this our country and help the people on the street. Because as long as we are providing funds for those companies, we will continue to oil the economy and we will continue to have jobs. And that is my answer to it.
Well said. I think that's a good place to leave it for today. So, NSE Sharia-compliance index, which has nothing to do with whether you're a Christian or a Muslim, it is simply business. If you have money to invest and you need to get advice from the index, feel free and make your investment. That seems to be the point that these two gentlemen have made.
Exactly.
Simple business decision. Thank you very much,
Thank you
gentlemen.
very much.
We understand this a bit better now, having had it explained to us by Mr. Taufik Agbaje, who is head of research and investment, Lotus Capital, as well as Mr. Femi Ademola, who himself is the head research and intelligence over at BGL and a stock market analyst. Thank you, gentlemen.
Thank you very much. Thank you.
We shall return in just a moment. Please stay with us.